What is up, Houdat Nation? It's your host of the Straight Up Saints podcast, Chris Voglu, and for this edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast, we're going to talk with Saints second-year wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. We'll talk about his exciting rookie year, the outlook for year two with training camp just around the corner, and some other fun stuff right here on the Straight Up Saints podcast.
You're listening to the Straight Up Saints podcast.
As always, the Straight Up Saints podcast is brought to you by Scott Vicknair Injury Lawyers. Have you been injured in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, or hurt offshore? Scott Vicknair handles it all. You can give him a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. So let's get right into it. Like I promised, bringing on Saints second-year wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. Rashid, thank you for joining the show, man. How's everything?
Everything's great, man. Thank you for having me. Couldn't be better.
Absolutely. And I would say last season – just from the jump, you kind of having your rookie year. I mean, first real opportunity against the Bengals, you had that long touchdown, and that was kind of a sign of things to come, especially as the season matured. December and January, I feel like every week we're seeing big plays. And I'm just curious for you, overall, when your rookie year ends, how do you approach it? Are you pleased with the production? Do you feel like you could have done a little bit more? How, as a competitor, do you kind of assess it?
Me, for myself, going into this season and how last season ended, I look at it as nothing short of as a blessing. And at the position that I was in, I growing up, I never expected to be in this position. So when it kind of came about, I was no matter how many balls I caught, no matter how many opportunities I was given, I was just happy just to be out there on the field, and I was just out there having fun. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I approached it. And this off season, I wanted to just keep my head down and continue to grind and continue to stay true to what I knew. And I feel like that's what allowed me to have success, to get me to this point, to where I was at. And, that's just kind of the outlook of it. I'm thankful for every opportunity, thankful to be part of the team or the organization and everything. And that's kind of how I look at it. And I'm excited for, what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, was there a moment, maybe it's training camp, maybe it's preseason, maybe it's, the first game that you really get the opportunity to show what you can do with touches. Was there a moment when you're going through it that you're like, man, I got this, like this is the next step, but it's something I know I'm capable of doing? Was there an immediate moment? Is it while you're out in game action? Like, when does it kind of hit for you that, like, I got this and I can be a real impact player, not just a guy that makes the NFL, but you're going to hear my name on Sundays?
Right. I feel like when I realized that I could play at this level, I feel like it kind of started at practice. Throughout training camp and all that stuff, I was kind of going through the rehab process still. And, when I was able to finally go out there and compete against the guys on practice squad, I realized that, I was making a few plays, and, I was having fun. I was flying around, and, it just felt like the same game that I was playing since I was a young kid. And that's when I kind of realized that, it's the same game. And, guys are bigger, faster, stronger, but, I was able to adapt to it pretty well. And that's kind of when I felt like, early on in practices that I could play at this level.
So I know towards mini camp, Saints fans got a little concerned because we heard about a minor groin injury. Everyone said it was nothing major, but I'm curious for you, training camp around the corner, just how does the body feel going into that second training camp?
Body feels great. Couldn't be better. I made that a huge priority this offseason. I did get a little dinged, but like you said, it was nothing serious at all. Fully healed and ready to go, full speed. All good.
Yeah, I'm sure Saints fans will breathe a sigh of relief. And something that's going to be different for this year, obviously, new quarterback, Derek Carr, coming in. And I'm just curious, how is that kind of adjustment? Last year, Jameis and Andy Dalton. Now you got Derek Carr in the building. How is he just two sides of it, the football player and what's kind of like the leader been in the huddle for you guys?
Yeah, I'll start with him as a leader. Him as a leader since day one, you can kind of just feel the energy that he brings. And the dude just wants to win. He just wants to compete, and he wants everybody around him, to succeed. And to having a guy like that, it's helpful to a young guy, young receivers like me, Chris, all the guys. And he brings us together, and he makes us better, and he believes in us, and he's believed in us since day one. And, that's why he came here, because he saw the potential in this receiving room and this team. And in the locker room, man, it's a completely different vibe, and it's going to be good. And he's been an established leader for a long time, and that's why he's had the success he has in his career. And we're all excited to have him, and he's excited to be here. And we're going to make a lot of plays together.
Yeah, and you mentioned Chris Olave. Does it make it easier for you, Rashid, as you go through kind of this NFL journey, knowing you got a guy right beside you, same position, same year, like you're kind of just going through this step by step, and obviously, the potential as football players is off the charts. But in terms of whether it's on the field, off the field, I'm sure there's some obstacles you guys have to overcome from time to time. Does it make it a little easier having Chris go through the same process at the same time, or not really?
Yeah, 100%. We're both young guys, and we're both kind of in the same positions. And he's had a lot of success early, and we kind of feed off each other's energy, whether if it's practice, in the game, before the game. He's a guy that we're close. We're from the same city. Been around for each other in the system for a minute now, and we're kind of getting an understanding of each other and how we play, and just getting a feel for all that. And man, having a guy like that across from you, you can't. It's tough to stop. And I look forward to playing with him for a long time, and he's definitely gonna have a lot of success. And we're just gonna continue to get better, continue to push each other, and sky's the limit for the both of us, I feel.
So I know that obviously, whether it's the way you go about things, and even just from social media, like you're not the guy that is going to constantly be branding themselves or hyping themselves up. And that's not a bad thing for people who do that, but it seems to be a more modest approach to it. But throughout this offseason, and this isn't just even Saints media, now national media is starting to pick it up. When we start mentioning guys that could break out, guys that could have those big years, a lot of people will mention your name. And obviously that has to be a great feeling, but how do you kind of balance the compliments and the expectations with the fact that, hey, I still got to go out there and do my job? Because there are a lot of people, when you talk about year two, maybe having a breakout year, a lot of people mention Rashid Shaheed. So A, how does that kind of feel? B, how do you maybe balance that with the whole lifestyle of competing in the NFL and trying to get better each day?
Right. Of course, it feels great to hear your name out in the media, and to get praise and love from the fans. And, this is the media. It's wonderful. And it's something that I don't take for granted. But it just means that I need to continue to work harder, and, not get complacent. Seeing your name in articles in the media, I try not to focus on it. Of course it's cool to see, but, as far as expectations, I have expectations for myself. And to me, that's all that matters. And, I just continue to, stay grounded and just stay true to what I know. And I know that as long as I do that, I'll continue to have success. And it's been a journey, and I don't take anything for granted, like I said. And I feel like as long as I do that, everything will just play out as itself. And all that media stuff, it'll be there no matter what. So just continue to do what I do, and continue to just be me.
Is there a certain aspect maybe to your game that you feel like once that takes the next step, it unlocks a whole nother level? I'm just, I'm fascinated by the whole process. Obviously, we know you got the speed, but I think one thing Saints fans quickly noticed throughout the season was like, hey, Rashid can make a lot of damage on those intermediate routes, on those shorter routes, take a pass for 5 and go 15, 20, whatever. What's kind of that next step, if there is one, that you're like, man, I know once I get this down, we're going to see an even more complete player? Or is there not one? Is it a whole package? What do you kind of assess in terms of, man, those are things I'd love to get better at in year two?
Right. I feel like things I could get better at in year two is the little things, focusing on the details. Continue to learn the game, learn coverages. Continue to get in the film room. And I feel like with film study and all that stuff, it can only help, because if you know what's going to happen before the play starts, it kind of becomes just a game within a game. And I feel like that aspect of the game I could definitely get better at. And I feel like once I continue to mature and figure out things that could help me out, like little things like that on the field, I feel like my game could even take off even more. Of course, all the the running the whole route tree, the deep, middle, intermediate, I feel like I can do, and I just got to continue to prove that. And everything will definitely come together. But as far as that, I definitely think like just breaking down little things like film, and all that things, it will help out a lot.
You mentioned before, the wide receiver group starting to take shape. training camp coming up, just how intense are those battles probably going to be between wide receivers and corners? Because you got yourself, you got Olave, Michael Thomas, some other pieces as well. You look over on the other side, Marshawn Lattimore, Alante Taylor, Paulson Adebo, Bradley Roby. So what are those battles like in camp? Just how intense does it kind of get?
Very intense, very intense. We're all trying to get better, and the potential that we see in all of each other it's like a breath of fresh air, because we're all just looking to get better at little things each and every day, and it's all love at the end of the day. Of course, we know we're teammates, but we're going to push each other to get better. We have a bunch of young studs, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to come out each day, fly around, have fun, and as long as we do that, it'll make it easier on Sundays.
Keeping it on the theme of intensity, I feel like it's the perfect word for this player. Michael Thomas now trying to come back from injury. We saw him a little bit at minicamp. Him being the vet in the locker room. Does he take you guys under his wing? Do you guys kind of pick his brain a little bit from what he's been able to do? Just how's that relationship, let's say you and Chris Olave, younger guys, with a guy like Michael Thomas, who is a former Offensive Player of the Year? Just how's that dynamic, whether it's from a learning experience, whatever it is, just behind the scenes?
Yeah, no, there's a ton to learn from that guy. Since day one, he's kind of took us under his wing, and just little things like in film study and in the weight room, on the field. He's very intense. He's very intense, and he wants to win, and he wants to have everybody around him succeed. And like breaking down film, he helps us out a lot. He's very experienced, so he kind of points little things out that he sees, and things that we can do within the game or in practice, just to take the next step. And who better to learn than Michael Thomas? He's so accomplished in this league, and he's one of the best, and he's one of the best for a reason. And that's because he's so intense, and he focuses on the little things each and every day. And his competitive nature is second to none.
So I want to kind of shift gears real quick to off the field. Something that I saw earlier this week or a couple of days ago, it might have been that I thought was awesome. You were teaming up with Waste Pro, and you guys were kind of cleaning up and refurbishing parks in the New Orleans area. For you, obviously, at the end of the day, you want to have that legacy, right? Be a well-known football player, have a great accomplishment, and you're well on the way to doing that. How important is the off-field stuff to you? Stuff like that where you can give back to the community and make it a better place?
Right, man. It means everything, and I'm so thankful that I was able to get that opportunity. Being in this community now, I feel like I have to embrace it, and this community needs people like us to come together and do little things like that, just so kids can can see that there's bigger things. And I just want to continue to be a light in the community, be somebody that people could look up to, put a smile on people's faces. And it's definitely a blessing, and I want to do plenty of stuff like that, and I know more opportunities will come. This community means a lot to me. I've only been here for a year, and I just feel like I'm so a part of it, and it's crazy. And little things like that, it goes a long way, and I know that, and I look forward to doing many things like that in the future.
That's absolutely awesome to hear. Now, we got about a minute or two before I let you go. So a lot of Saints fans are quickly gravitating towards you, quickly becoming a fan favorite. So I figure we'll have some couple of rapid fire questions for you to learn a little bit more about Rashid Shaheed. We're going to start with the first one. In New Orleans, got great food. What's kind of your favorite dish?
Favorite dish, man, I would have to go with fried catfish. I love catfish. Beignets, man. I love those. Those are probably the two things those are my go-to things. And mostly anything fried, to be honest with you.
I can't blame you. Once you said catfish, I was right on board with you right there.
Yeah.
We're going to go to music a little bit. Who's that maybe artist that kind of gets you going before a game? If you're listening to it on the field, who's kind of your go-to musician there?
Man, I'm a big Rod Wave fan, definitely before games. I feel like he kind of calms me down in a way, but kind of still talks to me, just to get me locked in. I definitely listen to a lot of Rod Wave, a lot of Young Boys sometimes too, depending on the mood, to get me a little hyped. I know that might be a little questionable for some people, but I'm a big Young Boy fan, so those two for sure.
So this one depends on whether or not, you're a big movie or TV show guy, but if you are, favorite show or movie, what are kind of your go-tos when you're just relaxing?
Yeah, no, favorite show, go to is Stranger Things. I could watch that at any time. Rewatch it probably 4 or 5 times. That's definitely my go-to TV show. Sorry, what was the other question?
If it's a movie, is there a movie for you that's probably top tier for you?
Movie, I would have to say Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite movie. It's my comfort movie. Just nothing else to watch or I can't figure it out. I'm definitely gonna throw on some Spider-Man for sure.
Okay, so for my last question for you, mentioned Stranger Things. It feels like we're going to have to wait a while before we get that last season. What we won't have to wait a while for is to see year 2 of Rashid Shaheed. So to wrap it up here, expectations for you, expectations for the team. What are you kind of hoping to get done in year 2?
Man, just to win a lot of games for this city. Continue to get better, continue to get out in the community and continue to inspire. All those things, and just win, man. That's all we want to do. And this team has a lot of potential, and we can go far. We can only go as far as as we put in the work. And I feel like we're going to, and we're going to make Saints fans happy.
Absolutely. Love to hear that. Rashid, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic year 2. With training camp coming up, can't wait to see what you do out there on the field, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast, guys. As always, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we can't wait to see what Rashid Shaheed does in year 2. We'll be back Monday with an edition live stream, and then we'll have some training camp coverage right here on Boot Crew Media. So make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube page and stay tuned for more content for the Who Dat Nation.